Hello and welcome back to the Novice Lumberjack, where I received in the mail yesterday my brand new 562 XP Mark Deuces, baby. So, yeah, initial thoughts on it. First I should be clear, my Mark 1, I have already sent it off to a gentleman who wishes to remain anonymous simply because he doesn't want to get pestered by a lot of people. He doesn't port saws for people he doesn't know personally. And so we're going to leave his name unmentioned. But anyways, he can do a really good job, and that's why it got sent to him. And he's been helping me out a lot in understanding these 5 series and how to properly work them over. Anyways, so I don't have a direct comparison because my Mark II or my Mark 1 has already been sent off. Would have been smart in hindsight to keep it an extra day, but I just mailed it yesterday. Anyways, you know how it is. You want to get things moving. I don't like to sit on stuff for a year and a half or indefinitely. But I do have my Red 2258. Now the muffler is off, you'll notice, and that's for specific reasons, because whenever I test this thing, I will, once I test it with the stock muffler, I will pull it off and I will see if this one fits on there. I don't think that it's going to, but that is of no real importance. My 2258 Red has been updated with a 562 XP recoil, as well as top cover, air filter, intake, everything. So the only difference at this point physically between this and a 562 XP, the 562 XP it's going to be a little bit wider on this side. We're talking millimeters, really small. You probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And it's going to be a little bit heavier, right? That's because the 562 XP accepts a large mount Husqvarna bar, whereas this and the Husqvarna 555 and the 560 and the Red 2260 accept a small mount bar, which means also the crank is different and the clutch is different. I think the only difference in the clutch, though, is thread pattern. So we're going to delve into that. But for all intended purposes of seeing which one is bigger and things, how they match up in size, what I'm doing here, lengthwise, they seem to be identical, right? Weight-wise, this, according to the specs, is still a little bit lighter than this. This right here is just like a slap straight up 13 pounds. Whereas this is 13.2 and the 562 is 13.4 pounds. And these are dry weights as advertised by Husqvarna. I have gotten my own weights, and shoot, I forgot. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and pause this and get the dry weight of this right now. 562 XP Mark II. 13.17 pounds or 5.97 kilos. .562 XP completely drained, 13.72 pounds, 6.225 kilos. Okay, I just weighed it in, and it is 13.17 pounds. So it is a bit lighter than the Mark 1. The Mark 1, whenever I measured it, it had already been full of fuel and oil, and even though I drained it, little bits hang around, so it makes a little bit of difference. So anyways, yeah, there we go. So it is a little bit lighter. Dimensionally, it seems identical to this. I will say that the back on this, the top cover on this sticks up higher. And remember, this is a 562 cover setup, so this is going to be identical to a 562 Mark I. The Mark II slopes down, is lower, and how do I say this? Perception is reality. Does that make it more nimble? Probably not. But does it seem like it would make it more nimble? Possibly. You know, like the feel of it in your hand, it's possibly going to feel more nimble. It also seems identical in size to this 2258, which is not quite as bulky as the 562 XP Mark I. All right, so it seems like it is a little bit slimmed down. All right, so now let's get on to the differences. All right, so on this right here, I have a large dog. I have the smaller dog here. However, it did come with big dogs, inner and outer. It came with it. I bought this from HL Supply. They had a sale like they do. I've been waiting for it. Saved about $100. I got this in the mail, shipped to me for, I think it was $717. That's about as good of a deal that you're going to find on one of these. So now let's open up the top cover and see what matches up and what doesn't. First off, I have already noticed that top cover on the Mark II seems to be better sealed up than the Mark I. See how that just came right off? It's this heat shield right here. That is nice and big and bulky, strong, firm, but still soft rubber. And this over here on the Mark I is all plastic, okay? So we're gonna have a lot tighter of a seal, I believe, which will mean that the air injection properties of these saws is probably gonna be better on this Mark Deuces, okay? Let's see if the air filters will match up. The air intake looks very similar. However, I think it is clearly different, and I don't think that the air intake will work. The filter, however, goes right on. No issues. That's nice. The other thing that is noticeable right off the bat is that this saw right here has a compression release, whereas this one does not even have the option of a compression release. So that tells me it's a lower compression saw. Now I won't be able to compare compression. Oh, and I've tried, the top covers do not interchange. And I don't think that anything is going to interchange except for possibly the clutch cover. And the fuel tank, and maybe like the full wrap, or the handlebar will probably interchange. But I don't think like the recoil is going to. No, it definitely is. No, it might. No, the recoil is not going to interchange. I can see very small little differences. It's not going to interchange. So let's set that off to the side or behind us, and let's do a compression test. These are still coming with the itty bitty little spark plugs. And it's a brand new saw, so this compression test right here is all but pointless. I understand that. But, you know, doesn't mean we're not interested, right? We definitely are. There we go. I recently purchased this compression tester. It is a Echo branded compression tester. If you're interested in this, I would say that this is the best compression tester for chainsaws that I have ever dealt with. And just if you want to know where to get them, it's pretty simple. All you got to do is type in Echo compression tester. It's called a Google search. You'll find it out there. All right. And the last time I did this, I had a lot of people saying you have to have the throttle opened. No, you don't. Ten pulls, we're golden. We are at 140 psi. 140 psi. I don't know if you could read that or not, but there it is. So that is good compression for a brand new saw that is dry of gasoline. You know, there's no fuel in there or anything. So that is good compression. Oh, you know what? Let's just squash this right now. Boom, we're going to squash it. Here it comes. Haha, got a zip tie right there. Throttle is zip tied open. $140 psi. There's no difference. And a lot of people would say, oh, it just means you don't have to pull as many times. That's not true either. I've done the tests with most saws, 3 or 4 pulls with the throttle open or closed get you to peak compression. But with that tester, with my other testers, with the long tubes, I had to pull significantly more. But with that thing, 3 or 4 pulls is all you need. But, you know, creature of habit, I still do 10 pulls. So anyways, all right, so no compression release on this saw. It's got a nice tight air injection top cover that works really, really nice. It is slightly tricky to get on, but not much. It just goes right on. And yeah, next thing to check that I think is important is these things have a different clutch setup, slightly different clutch setup than the 560, I'm sorry, the 555, right? Now, why is that important? I've already loosened this up, but pulling it over like that tightened it up some. It's important because the bigger clutches on the 562 versus the 555 and the 2258, the 2260, the 560, they have different cranks which have a different thread pattern, and they only accept a very specific clutch. And that clutch requires a large rim sprocket. Why is that a big deal? Well, the clutches on the saws that are like the downgraded saws, they take a medium. All right? This right here is a lot larger spline. And that's important because this saw is under 60 cc's. So if it's under 60 cc's, a lot of people in the world would like to run this saw with a 325 chain. However, with the larger rim sprocket, you're forced to get an 8-pin 325 chain. What I'm wanting to see here real quick is if you can change the drum. And the answer is yes. If you desire to run a 7-pin 325 sprocket on a 562 Mark II, and I'm pretty sure that the Mark I is exactly the same, right? All you have to do is change the drum. If you change the drum out to a 555 drum, the needle bearing is the same size, all right? So that's all you got to do. Let's see if the thread pitch is the same. It's not, I feel certain. Holy shit, the thread pitch is exactly the same. Huh. I felt certain that the thread pitch was different. I don't know, because again, I don't have my actual 562 XP Mark I here, so I don't know. I felt like the thread pitch was actually different. But either way, shape, or form, if you want to run a 7-pin 325 sprocket on this, all you got to do is get the drum from a 2258, a 550, 555, or something along those lines, and you will be able to run your small 325 sprocket. Because honestly, there's no difference in the clutches, the actual clutches. They're both 3-shoe clutch. They're exactly the same design and everything. This thing is full of oil. I'm going to wipe that out. It's not oil, it's grease. Go ahead, there's somebody out there who's going to tell me I shouldn't do this. I know you're wanting to. I know you want to. Go ahead. Ugh, still all over me. All right. That could definitely be important to a lot of people wanting to run the 325 setup with a 7-pin sprocket. If you can do that on a saw that's got the power that this thing has, goodness gracious, you're going to have a lot of torque, a lot of not really torque, gearing. Oh, good enough. Yes, I know that puts pressure on the starter recoil. No, I don't care. Never. I mean, I pull it out like that so that I can use my hand. I can use my hand to soften the blow. It's not putting straight hard pressure on your recoil. All right, so let's see real quick if this clutch cover will work. Certainly it does. So the clutch cover is going to be the same on either saw. Goes right in place. We're good. All right, so what's next? Well, the next thing that you next thing to do at this point is to actually test it out. So I'm going to gas this thing up, and we're going to go out and we're going to put it in some wood. And after that, then I will pull that muffler off, do a muffler mod, and go back to the exact same wood and see how much of a difference it made.